3 years ago, Madison Prewett was a contestant on The Bachelor, where she was criticized for her strong stand for purity. Today, Madison is no longer looking for love. She knows she's found the love everybody wants.
Madison Prewett entered the spotlight as a contestant on The Bachelor TV show in 2020. As a finalist, she made it clear that her faith in God was a top priority. Since that experience, Madison has gained a speaking, writing, and social media outreach. She loves helping others sort through what's most important in life. In her new book, The Love Everybody Wants, newly married Madison says the truest love comes from God and is already ours.
Please welcome back to the 700 Club, Madison Prewett Troutt. It's great to have you here.
It's so good to be here with you, live in person.
Yeah. What an experience you've had in all of this. Your book is so interesting. What you're looking for is already yours. You know, I mean, people who watch The Bachelor, I think, over the years have kind of gone, as it's gone, really? You know,
I was one of those people also saying, really?
So you came off the show and now you're married. What has anything about marriage surprised you?
Honestly, the craziest thing is I started writing this book single and as therapy to myself, trying to remind myself of the truth of God's word and promises when I wasn't feeling it or seeing it happen. And I started writing it single, met my husband in the middle of writing it, and then finished my manuscript for this book 2 months after being married. So I was able to write from all the different relational, perspectives, and I realized this message that I started writing single still applies in marriage, which is wild.
Talk a little bit about relationships, because not just women, but men as well, often look, I don't know that we do this, but look for their identity in finding Mr. or Miss Right that's going to suddenly fulfill all my dreams. What do you speak to that?
Absolutely. I have a whole chapter just titled, He Completes Me, because I think that's what we feel. We feel we have to find completion in the things of this world or in someone else. And it was a moment for me that actually led to the inspiration behind this book, where I had this moment alone in my room. I was praying and I was frustrated with God, and I was like, why haven't I found my spouse? And I felt like my purpose was put on hold. I felt like I was waiting for someone else to satisfy me. And it was in that moment where God just spoke to me and said, Maddie, you're looking for all the right things in all the wrong places. You're trying to find what you're looking for in another person, and it can only be found in me. And so I speak to this idea of a person in life, a partner in life is meant to complement you, not complete you. Only Jesus can do that.
We should be praying that we get ready when we meet the right person to be the right complement. You mentioned complete, but let's talk about compete, because in a relationship, some people compete, some people are complete in the relationship. What about that?
So I talk about the 4 dangers of, getting in the way of us finding the love that we're looking for. And one of those is competing. Another is comparing and even conforming, compromising our convictions, our values, our standards to be loved and accepted.
Who am I without you?
Exactly. And the whole idea and heart behind this book is that when we find that in God, and then when we learn to view ourselves the way that God views us, seeing ourselves the way that He sees us, knowing our value and our worth, we're able to enter into these relationships from a place of value and confidence and abundance, saying, I don't need you to complete me. I already know who I am, and we're not looking for someone else to be that.
Maddie, what are some of the red flags people should watch for? Because, we are, when we're single, usually looking for, is this the person, is that the person? And sometimes we get emotionally involved, sometimes physically involved in a relationship, and we feel like we can't step away from it. But there were red flags if we'd looked for them.
And I've been the person who's been blind to them, so I'll be the first to say
we all have.
I was writing from a place of, again, teaching and preaching to myself. But what I've realized is that the red flags that we tolerate at the beginning end up laying the groundwork for the kind of relationship that we build on. And that's why we should not run from them, ignore them, or tolerate them, but rather pay attention and lean in. And so I talk about a few in this book, one of them being when our behaviors and beliefs don't align. That's not only something we should be looking out out for in someone else, but even asking ourselves, do my behaviors align with the beliefs and the values that I say that I have? And so I've seen, you know, in relationships that I've had in my past, sometimes their behavior is the answer to, you know, asking God, is this the one for me? And God's like, well, just pay attention to their behaviors, their patterns, their habits. So.
Yeah, you know, I think sometimes also in relationships, we think as women especially, more than men do that, women do this more than men do this. When I'm finally there with him every day, he will fall into the role. You know, I'm not going to have to compromise, but you're compromising by that very thing.
Yes, I even have one, don't date potential. Don't date potential. I think we have this thing inside of us where we want to have this fixer-upper relationship. We hope that we can change them or fix them or make them into the person we want them to be, but that just can become dangerous, because what if they never become that person? So we should date someone for who they are now, not who we want them to be.
Talk about purity, because our world has changed so much, and we live in a world that's crazy sexually and with all kinds of temptation. How important is it?
Man, I think about Matthew 5:8, and it says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. And for me, I made a decision to save myself for marriage, not because of a church or because I felt like I had to, but because I finally got to a place and I said, God, this is going to help me see you. This is going to help me know you. And I've realized in life, when I try and dance with the line of impurity, it only led to confusion and shame and just this endless cycle of losing my identity. But yet, when I pursued purity with all of my heart, it led to God's peace, God's protection, and it was such a gift. And that is my heart, is I want people to read this book and see that God calls us to purity, not to withhold from us, but rather to give us this beautiful gift and bless us.
No regrets.
No regrets.
If that's what you're looking for in your life, you want to read Madison's book, The Love Everybody Wants. What you're looking for is already yours. It's a wonderful book. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Thanks. Great to have you here. Wonderful message.
Thank you.